The colony of New Eden was supposed to be humanity's shining achievement, the first self-sustaining settlement beyond the Sol system. Located on a verdant world orbiting Proxima Centauri, it represented everything humanity had dreamed of for centuries. But on that fateful morning, as the colony's three suns cast their golden light across the settlement's biodomes, no one could have predicted how their peaceful existence would trigger a chain of events that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. The first warning came from the colony's orbital detection grid. Unusual energy signatures, unlike anything their sensors had cataloged before. Within minutes, massive ships emerged from hyperspace, their sleek obsidian hulls reflecting the starlight like polished mirrors. They belonged to the Kraxan Empire, one of the oldest spacefaring civilizations in the known galaxy, beings who viewed themselves as the supreme arbiters of galactic evolution. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of the colony's education center, had just finished morning assembly with her students when the attack began. The Kraxan ships deployed some kind of localized dampening field, rendering most of the colony's defensive systems useless. Their strike was precise, targeting the education center with surgical accuracy. "Everyone into the shelter," Sarah shouted, herding her 30 students toward the reinforced basement level. But the Kraxan were prepared for this. Their boarding parties materialized inside the building, cutting off escape routes with energy barriers. The aliens stood over 8 feet tall, their crystalline exoskeletons pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. They moved with an unsettling grace, as if gravity itself bent to their will. "Fascinating specimens," one of them remarked in perfectly translated English, studying the terrified children through multifaceted eyes. "So small, so fragile. Perfect for the behavioral studies." Sarah stepped between her students and the aliens. "They're children," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "Whatever you want, take me instead." The Kraxan leader tilted its head, crystalline appendages clicking together in what might have been amusement. "Your protective instinct is noted, but unnecessary. We are scientists, not barbarians. These young ones will be treated as valuable research subjects, helping us understand how such a primitive species managed to achieve spaceflight." Before Sarah could respond, the air filled with a sweet-smelling gas. She fought to stay conscious, watching helplessly as her students collapsed one by one. The last thing she saw was the Kraxan carefully collecting the children, treating them like precious laboratory specimens. The news reached Earth 12 hours later. The response from the Terran coalition government was surprisingly muted. A formal protest filed with the Galactic Council, requests for diplomatic negotiations, and calls for the children's immediate return. The Kraxan dismissed these appeals with patronizing assurances that the subjects would be returned once their research was complete. But in a heavily guarded facility beneath the Mariana Trench, a different response was being prepared. Fleet Admiral Helena Santos stood before a holographic display showing the Kraxan ships departing the Proxima Centauri system. Her weathered face remained impassive, but her dark eyes burned with controlled fury. "They think we're primitive," she said to the assembled military leadership. "They think we achieved spaceflight through luck or stolen technology. They believe we're defenseless." She gestured to another display showing detailed scans of the Kraxan vessels. "What they don't know is that we've been watching them for decades, studying them, preparing." The room's lighting shifted, revealing walls lined with displays showing hundreds of ships, vessels unlike anything known to the wider galaxy. They were the product of Project Shadowfall, humanity's insurance policy against hostile alien civilizations. While the rest of the galaxy saw Earth as a backwater world barely capable of interstellar travel, humanity had been quietly building the most advanced stealth fleet in known space. "The Kraxan believe they're conducting an experiment," Admiral Santos continued, her voice hardening. "They're right, but they're not the scientists. They're the test subjects. It's time to show them exactly what humanity is capable of when our children are threatened." As the Admiral spoke, alerts began flashing across the displays. The Kraxan ships had arrived at their destination, a massive research station in a system near the galaxy's core. They thought they were safely beyond humanity's reach. They thought they had all the time in the world to study their new specimens. They were wrong on both counts. The first phase of humanity's response was already in motion. Deep within the Earth's secret shipyards, crews boarded vessels that officially didn't exist. These ships represented the pinnacle of human military technology. Vessels capable of matching any known alien warship in direct combat, but designed to win battles without ever being seen. As the abducted children were being processed into the Craxan research facility, humanity's hidden fleet prepared to teach the galaxy's oldest civilization its youngest lesson. Never mistake patience for weakness, and never underestimate a species protecting its young. The Shadowfall fleet's primary staging area lay hidden within Jupiter's vast atmosphere, masked by electromagnetic storms that had baffled alien observers for centuries. As the massive gas giant completed another rotation, hundreds of ships emerged from their concealment, their quantum-dampened hulls absorbing all forms of detection. Captain Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the TSV Nightshade, the fleet's lead infiltration vessel. Through the ship's advanced imaging systems, she watched as other vessels took formation, each one a masterpiece of human engineering and deception. While the rest of the galaxy built ever larger warships bristling with weapons, humanity had gone in the opposite direction, developing ships that could slip through the enemy's defenses like ghosts. All ships report ready, Captain. Her XO, Commander David Chen, announced. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements precise and controlled. They had trained for years for this moment, though none had expected their first real mission would involve rescuing children from an alien research facility. Maya accessed the tactical display, studying the complex web of data collected by Earth's deep cover surveillance network. The Craxan thought their facility was untraceable, protected by technology that made it invisible to conventional sensors. They never imagined that humans had developed ways to track quantum wake signatures, allowing them to follow the kidnappers straight to their hidden base. The Craxan have divided the children into 3 research groups, Maya reported to the Fleet Command Channel. Initial scans show they're being kept in separate wings of the facility. Their security is focused on keeping the children in, not on defending against external threats. They still don't believe we're capable of reaching them. Admiral Santos's voice came through the secure channel. The Craxan's arrogance will be their undoing. All ships, commence Operation Starbreak. Remember, our primary objective is recovering the children. But make no mistake, we're also sending a message. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity will no longer tolerate being treated as a primitive species to be studied and exploited. The fleet moved out in perfect synchronization, their advanced drives leaving no trace in normal space. Years of technological development had led to this moment. While the galaxy's major powers focused on brute force and energy weapons, humanity had pursued more subtle innovations. Each ship in the fleet carried technologies that the Craxan would consider impossible: quantum phase shields that could selectively filter matter and energy, gravity manipulation systems that defied known physics, and weapons that could disable enemy systems without destroying them. As they approached the Craxan facility, Maya activated the Nightshade's most closely guarded secret, the temporal perception field. The technology allowed her crew to operate in a slightly accelerated time frame, making their reactions appear impossibly fast to outside observers. Combined with their other advantages, it would make the human fleet seem to move with supernatural precision. Multiple Craxan patrols detected, Commander Chen reported. Their standard search pattern leaves a 3-second gap in their sensor coverage. Maya nodded, a gap they believe is too small for any ship to exploit. Deploy the quantum meshwork. Across the fleet, invisible fields of interlocked quantum particles expanded, creating a network that allowed the ships to coordinate their movements with microscopic precision. The entire fleet would slip through that 3-second gap, proving that humanity had not only mastered faster-than-light travel, but had developed ways to manipulate space and time itself. Inside the Craxan facility, the alien scientists continued their research, unaware of what was coming. They had separated the human children into groups based on age and apparent cognitive development. Their tests were not intentionally cruel. The Kraxan genuinely believed they were conducting important research that would help them understand how a primitive species had achieved space travel. In one of the research chambers, young Timothy Chen, Sarah's star pupil, remained defiant despite his fear. When the Kraxan researchers attempted to test his problem-solving abilities with what they considered advanced puzzles, he completed them so quickly that they assumed their testing equipment was malfunctioning. They never considered that human children might be more capable than they assumed. As the fleet approached its final attack position, Maya received one last transmission from Earth. It was a message from Dr. Sarah Chen, who had survived the attack on the colony. "Please," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "bring them home." Maya's response was simple: "We will." The Kraxan were about to learn that they hadn't been studying humanity. Humanity had been studying them. Every test they conducted on the children, every bit of data they collected, was about to be turned against them. The galaxy's oldest civilization was about to be schooled by its youngest. "All ships in position," Commander Chen reported. "Quantum meshwork stable. Temporal perception fields synchronized." Maya took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the command interface. In all of human history, no military operation had been planned with such precision or executed with such advanced technology. They were about to demonstrate that humanity's apparent technological limitations had been a carefully crafted illusion. "Begin the operation," she ordered. "Show them what humanity can really do." The Kraxan facility's first warning came not as an alarm, but as a subtle irregularity in their quantum field generators. Chief Researcher Vex Tan dismissed the anomaly as a routine fluctuation, just as humanity knew he would. By the time he realized his mistake, it was already too late. The human fleet's attack began with silence. No explosions, no energy weapons, no dramatic displays of force. Instead, quantum fields phased through the facility's shields as if they didn't exist, carrying with them specialized infiltration teams. The Kraxan's impenetrable defenses had been designed to stop conventional attacks. They were useless against technology that operated on principles their scientists had never even theorized. Maya watched from the Nightshade's bridge as the operation unfolded. The infiltration teams moved through the facility like ghosts, their quantum-shifted bodies passing through walls while remaining solid enough to interact with their objectives. Each team carried devices that interfaced directly with the facility's systems, not by hacking them, but by manipulating the quantum states of their processors. "First target acquired," came the report from Team Alpha. 8 children secured, all vital signs stable. Beginning phase shift extraction. The Kraxan's first real indication that something was wrong came when entire sections of their research data began disappearing from their networks. Not deleted. The data was being copied and quantum shifted out of their dimension microseconds before being wiped. Humanity wasn't just rescuing their children. They were ensuring the Kraxan couldn't continue their research. In his private laboratory, Vex Tan finally realized the magnitude of what was happening. His crystalline form vibrated with agitation as he accessed the facility's deep scanners, designed to observe quantum-level phenomena. What he saw defied everything he thought he knew about human capabilities. The human ships weren't avoiding the Kraxan's sensor network. They were operating in multiple quantum states simultaneously, existing in a superposition that made them functionally invisible. It was technology that the Kraxan had theorized but never managed to develop, wielded with a mastery that suggested years of refinement. Security breach in Research Wing Beta. The facility's AI announced, its usual calm voice carrying an unfamiliar note of confusion. Unknown entities detected, unable to determine nature or composition of intruders. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The Kraxan were learning what humanity had known for years. True stealth wasn't about hiding, but about existing in ways your enemy couldn't comprehend. Each movement of the rescue operation had been calculated to maximize this psychological impact. Team Bravo reporting. Another transmission came through. Second group of children secured. Be advised, We found evidence of additional research subjects from other species. Request permission to expand extraction parameters. Maya didn't hesitate. Permission granted. No one gets left behind. The rescue teams discovered holding cells containing young beings from a dozen different species, all deemed primitive by the Kraxan, all subjected to their tests and experiments. The human operators, their bodies protected by quantum fields that made them appear as little more than shadows, began freeing these prisoners as well. In the facility's central control room, Vex Tun finally managed to get visual confirmation of the intruders. What he saw chilled him to his core. The humans moved with impossible speed and precision, their actions synchronized to an extent that suggested they were operating in an altered temporal field. But it was their efficiency that truly terrified him. There was no wasted motion, no hesitation, just the smooth execution of what was clearly a meticulously planned operation. Fascinating, he found himself saying, the scientist in him momentarily overwhelming his fear. We believed we were studying them, but they were the ones conducting the true experiment. The facility's defenses, when they finally activated, proved worse than useless. Automated security systems found themselves targeting phantom images, while defense drones shut down when their quantum processors were shifted out of phase with reality. The Kraxan guards, their crystalline bodies enhanced with the finest combat technologies their civilization had developed, found themselves unable to even perceive their opponents. In the medical wing, young Timothy Chen was helping to calm the other children as the rescue teams arrived. He had spent his captivity not in fear, but in careful observation, gathering intelligence that he now shared with the operators. The Kraxan had never considered that their test subject might be analyzing them in return. Final team reporting. The command channel crackled. Last group of children secured. Secondary objectives completed. All research data has been acquired and purged from Kraxan systems. Maya opened a channel to the entire fleet. Phase 2 begins now. Show them our true capabilities, but remember, we are not here for revenge. We are here for justice. As the rescue teams and their charges were quantum shifted back to the human ships, the facility's sensors finally detected something they could understand. A massive energy buildup surrounding their station. The Kraxan were about to learn that humanity's mastery of quantum mechanics extended far beyond stealth and infiltration. The next phase would demonstrate why it was a terrible mistake to believe that humanity's peaceful nature was born of weakness rather than choice. The quantum field surrounding the Kraxan facility pulsed with barely contained energy. Inside the research station, alarms blared as systems registered power signatures, unlike anything in their extensive databases. Vex Tun and his fellow researchers watched in stunned silence as their sensors revealed the truth. They were completely surrounded by a fleet that, according to everything they knew about human technology, shouldn't exist. Maya's voice echoed through every communication system in the facility, translated perfectly into the crystalline harmonics of the Kraxan language. This is Captain Maya Patil of the Terran Shadow Fleet. Your facility is now under our control. Your research subjects have been evacuated. Your data has been secured. You have exactly 1 standard galactic hour to abandon this station. In the Kraxan High Council chamber, light years away, the emergency session descended into chaos as the implications became clear. The humans hadn't just rescued their children. They had penetrated the most secure Kraxan facility ever built, and they had done it without firing a single conventional weapon. Impossible, one council member chittered, his crystalline form vibrating with distress. Their technology is primitive. We've monitored their development for decades. The High Speaker's response cut through the panic. No, we monitored what they wanted us to see. Back at the facility, Vex Tun made a decision that would later be credited with saving countless Kraxan lives. He ordered an immediate evacuation, recognizing that they were facing a civilization that had outmaneuvered them on every level. As the Kraxan scrambled to their escape pods, the human fleet maintained their perfect formation. Each ship pulsed with energy that defied conventional physics, creating a containment field that would ensure the coming demonstration affected only its intended target. Admiral Santos's voice joined Maya's in the facility's communications. To the Galactic Council and all spacefaring civilizations, consider carefully what you are about to witness. Earth has maintained the illusion of technological inferiority not out of weakness, but because we chose peace. Today, you will understand why making us choose otherwise was a grave mistake. The evacuation completed with 15 minutes to spare. As the last Kraxan escape pod cleared the containment field, Maya gave the order that would reshape galactic politics forever. Execute Protocol Revelation. The human fleet's quantum field generators synchronized, creating a phenomenon that Kraxan scientists had believed theoretically impossible. The fabric of space-time around the facility began to shift, not tearing or breaking, but transforming in a controlled cascade of quantum events. The station didn't explode. Instead, it underwent a transformation that demonstrated humanity's true mastery of physics. Layer by layer, the facility's structure was shifted through quantum states, each molecule perfectly controlled, until the entire station existed in a suspended state between dimensions. Their facility remains intact, Maya announced to the watching galaxy, but it now exists in a quantum state that they cannot access without our help. Everything they built, everything they created, is now beyond their reach, just as they put our children beyond ours. The demonstration sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The Kraxan, one of the oldest and most technologically advanced civilizations, had been defeated not through violence, but through a display of scientific mastery that bordered on the impossible. On the Nightshade's bridge, Maya received confirmation that the quantum lock was stable. The facility would remain in its altered state indefinitely, a permanent reminder of humanity's capabilities. But it was the next part of the operation that would truly drive the message home. Transmitting data package to all major galactic archives, Commander Chen reported. Quantum encrypted, key to activate simultaneously across all networks. The data package contained carefully selected information about humanity's true technological capabilities. Not everything. There were still secrets to keep, but enough to ensure that no one would ever again mistake Earth's peaceful nature for weakness. The package also included detailed evidence of the Kraxan's experiments, not just on human children, but on young beings from dozens of species deemed primitive. The revelation would shatter the Kraxan's reputation and force the Galactic Council to confront its own prejudices. As the data spread across galactic networks, Maya opened a final channel to the Kraxan High Council. Your researchers ask how a primitive species achieved spaceflight. The answer is simple. We never stopped learning, never stopped innovating, and never ever underestimated those we encountered. Remember this lesson well, because we will be watching. The quantum containment field pulsed one final time, leaving behind a marker buoy that would broadcast a simple message in all known languages. Here lies the pride of an empire that mistook patience for weakness. Let it serve as a reminder that true civilization is measured not by age, but by wisdom. 3 months after the Kraxan incident, the Galactic Council convened its first-ever General Assembly with Earth as a full member. The massive chamber, designed to accommodate representatives from hundreds of species, fell silent as Admiral Helena Santos took the podium. Behind her, a holographic display showed the transformed Kraxan facility, still suspended in its quantum-locked state, a permanent testament to humanity's capabilities. We come before you today not to boast of our victory, Santos began, her voice carrying across the chamber, but to propose a new way forward. Earth has demonstrated that technological advancement need not be measured in the size of our warships or the destructive power of our weapons. True progress lies in understanding the fundamental forces that shape our universe and in choosing how to use that knowledge. In the diplomatic section, Maya watched as the various alien representatives processed this statement. The Kraxan delegation, their crystalline forms notably subdued, had been relegated to observer status pending a full investigation of their research practices. The evidence Earth had released had sparked a galaxy-wide reckoning about the treatment of primitive species. Dr. Sarah Chen, now Earth's appointed advocate for interspecies education, stood beside Maya. The children rescued from the facility had all returned home, carrying with them experiences that would shape the future of human-alien relations. Young Timothy Chen, in particular, had provided insights into Kraxan technology that even their own scientists hadn't fully understood. The quantum transformation of the Kraxan facility wasn't just a demonstration of power, Santos continued. It was a choice. We could have destroyed it. Instead, we created something unprecedented, a structure that exists as both a warning and a promise. A warning about the consequences of underestimating others, and a promise that humanity is ready to share our knowledge with those who seek to learn rather than dominate. The announcement that followed changed the galaxy forever. Earth proposed the establishment of the Interstellar Scientific Coalition, a new organization dedicated to sharing knowledge across species and civilizations. The quantum-locked Kraxan facility would be transformed into its headquarters once Earth reversed the transformation. We developed our technologies in secret because we saw how the strong dominated the weak in this galaxy, Santos explained. But strength without wisdom leads to stagnation. The Kraxan, for all their ancient knowledge, had stopped learning. They believed they had nothing left to learn from primitive species. That was their greatest mistake. The assembly erupted in discussion as Earth revealed its next proposal. The human quantum phase technology, which had so thoroughly demonstrated its superiority, would be shared with other civilizations, under certain conditions. Each species would need to demonstrate its commitment to peaceful cooperation and the ethical treatment of all sentient beings. In the months that followed, the galaxy underwent a transformation as profound as the one Earth had imposed on the Kraxan facility. Species that had been dismissed as primitive were given seats at the council. The Kraxan, humbled but not destroyed, began the long process of reforming their society, starting with a complete overhaul of their research ethics. Maya found herself appointed as the first director of the Interstellar Scientific Coalition. Under her leadership, the transformed facility became a symbol not of humanity's power, but of the potential for cooperation between species. The quantum state technology that had been used as a weapon became a tool for scientific advancement, allowing researchers to study phenomena that had previously been theoretical. Dr. Chen's educational programs became a model for interspecies learning. Her experience with both the trauma of the abduction and the triumph of the rescue gave her unique insight into bridging the gaps between civilizations. The children who had been test subjects became the first students in a new type of school, where young beings from all species could learn from each other. 1 year after the incident, Maya stood in the observation deck of the transformed facility, now restored to normal spacetime, but forever changed. Beside her, Timothy Chen, now a junior ambassador in the interspecies exchange program, watched ships from dozens of civilizations dock at the station. They thought they were studying us, Timothy said, echoing the words that had become something of a motto for the new era. But in the end, they taught us something important too. Maya nodded. What's that? That the greatest power isn't in having advanced technology or ancient knowledge, Timothy replied. It's in knowing when to use it, and more importantly, when to share it. As she watched the activity below, Maya reflected on how much had changed. Earth had revealed its strength not to dominate, but to transform. The quantum-locked facility had been a demonstration of power, but its transformation into a center of learning was a demonstration of wisdom. The galaxy had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its hidden fleet or its advanced technology. It was in the ability to turn a moment of conflict into an opportunity for growth, to transform a symbol of power into a beacon of hope. As new students arrived at the facility from across the galaxy, each bringing their own unique perspective and potential, Maya understood that this was humanity's true victory. They had not just prevented future attacks on Earth, they had created a future where such attacks were unthinkable, not through fear, but through understanding. The age of isolation was over. The age of true cooperation had begun, and it had started because a supposedly primitive species had chosen to protect its children not through destruction, but but through transformation. In the end, that choice had transformed not just a facility, but an entire galaxy.